Morning. Weir, roadtoruta.com. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Very important day to step back and think about all that your mother did for you, all the good and bad times you had, and bravo moms for making it this far. I know how hard it is being a dad. Today's news is crazy, but I want to quickly talk about a subject that is I'm still working out how it's going to turn out. It's the reality that physical gold and silver will not always be money, and will not always be seen as money. I know the hardcore gold bugs and silver bugs will say, no, it's been money for thousands of years, so it will always be money. Well, the reality is, no, it will not always be money. There will come a time when we don't even need money, truthfully, when our basic needs are met through technology, food, water, shelter. Technology will get to a point where it can take care of anything we need cheaply and practically freely, and then it comes down to what do you want versus what do you need, and will money be used in that situation. Things of value will be used, but money will not be coveted like it is today. Now, how far off are we? Are we hundreds of years away, thousands of years, like the gold bugs and silver bugs think? I don't think so. I think technology is moving so fast, and I would say 10 to 20 years away. So that kind of throws things into a quandary about what is going to happen to gold and silver, and can you get out of them? If the suppression stops, the price skyrockets, and then you try to cash in your earnings. Are you smart enough and fast enough to get out of them? But I think on near term, it's not a problem. We're just waiting for the suppression to stop. But on the long term, gold and silver will be used for other things. Silver is a great conductor of electricity, which is huge and gigantic. And one of the reasons I believe that in the near future, when we go off the current unbacked fiat monetary system and go back onto probably a gold standard, silver will probably be too valuable to use as money. Silver was good as money because it was plentiful and it had a stable supply and things like that throughout history, but now it is not plentiful. And supply is fairly stable still, but obviously the price rigging goes on. But another thing is the potential for technology and science to evolve such that gold and silver are able to be fabricated. We've already seen it with the gems, like diamonds and rubies and sapphires can be grown in a lab now. I don't think it's all that far off that gold and silver will be able to be created by putting the molecules together. Now, is it going to happen tomorrow? No. Is it going to happen in 5 years? Doubtful. Is it going to happen in 10, 20 years? Probably, but I don't know if it will be economic to do it. That's the other thing, it's got to be economic. You can spend $1 million creating an ounce of gold out of the molecules, but is it worth it? So that's all got to go down. But with the speed of technology and the way things are changing, I wouldn't be surprised to hear the first rumorings of that in the next 5 or 10 years. The bad guys will probably use it to slam down the price again. But the key now is just to get these bad guys out of the way. Now, for you silver holders, a demonetization of silver is what you saw since 1850, since the Opium Wars, when the Bank of England demonetized. That was the whole plan. The Bank of England has always been there, and the Rothschilds, to try to demonetize silver. But with the advent of electronics, we're going to need more and more and more silver, and have seen that silver consumed in little bitty bits and spread out throughout the world. So I still think silver is the call. We're going to need a lot of it as we move into the technological age. New inventions, especially on the energy front. Silver is the best conductor of electricity, so that I think silver is going to play a huge role in that scenario. I'll have more on this in the coming days and weeks because I think it's important as we look at even what will be used as money in the near future, especially if all the secret gold that's been hidden away is announced, and there's a global recalculation of how much gold is really out there. and how much it is worth in relative to unbacked fiat money. It's priceless, obviously. But if there is a transition, I think everybody will have a come to Jesus moment with their gold stashes, and we need to figure out exactly how much is out there and what it's worth and all these things. And then if a free market exchange for gold ever happens, which would be unbelievable because there isn't one right now, it's all electronic derivatives being traded, then we could truly find out what the value of gold is economically. And gold's a good conductor of electricity also, so gold's not going to go away. Just right now, I think its best use is as money. So that's why the banksters and the governments around the world try to demonetize it by controlling the price, which is being done every day. Steve Mnuchin is the one with the fat finger these days on the silver and gold price. Would he go to jail? No, it's completely legal, and it's his job requirement, actually, to do that via computers and the derivatives that are traded on the COMEX and the LBMA. Anyway, more on that later. Bitcoin obviously will shine in a scenario where gold and silver can be fabricated because Bitcoin is fixed supply. It's all about supply. Fixed at 21 million coins can never be mined. So just another feather in the hat for Bitcoin. Anyway, moving on. I had talked a lot when Trump started hiring these people around him, the bad guys and the neocons and things like that. I said there will come a time when Trump will fire a lot of them. And here we are sitting today. I think the gloves are off, as I said last week. And the first thing on Zero Hedge today, he's angry at everyone. Trump said to plan huge reboot. Priebus, Bannon, Spicer may be fired. According to a report by Axios this morning, President Trump is reportedly considering a huge reboot of his core staff and cabinet members that could lead to the termination of everyone from Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and Chief Strategist Steve Bannon to Counsel Don McGahn and Press Secretary Sean Spicer. He's frustrated and angry at everyone. This is how the game is played. This is what Trump is going to fire them all and then hire back the people who he originally wanted to put in place. So it should be really interesting. The chaos is definitely starting and beginning. I think the ransomware hack should wreak chaos in the markets on Monday, especially if some of these big money people got ransomwared, which should be interesting. And there's a lot of other things going on this week. Definitely the plug is being pulled on the system, and the day it falls down, there's going to be mass chaos. It's going to be really hard to deal with, even if you own gold and silver. Especially if the exchange is shut down, you won't know what that gold and silver is worth, and you won't know what Bitcoin's worth either. So, yeah, it's a lot of chaos coming. So just hang in there and trudge through. We have to go through this. This is part of the transition into something new and something better. Hedge fund CIO, this is unprecedented. No trader has a model for this. No one has a model for this, said the CIO. What makes this so difficult to model is that this will be the first cycle that ends based on decisions made in Beijing, not Washington or Frankfurt. China's in on it. The good guys in the U.S. are in on it. Russia's in on it. All three of them are working together now, which is an unbeatable triumvirate against the bad guys. So, we'll see what happens. But clearly there's something else going on in the background if you're watching, if you're paying close attention. Morgan Stanley, book your summer holidays, but put these trades on first. Have you booked your summer holidays yet? If not, you probably should. Record low readings of the VIX suggest that investors have little to worry about at the moment. Are you kidding me? They should be worried about everything. Everybody's going to get caught flat-footed, and that was the whole idea of this game. Is the good guys, as I call them, want no one to profit off it. So all the short traders have been taken out pretty much. The games go on, and it's all done with a click of a mouse in the basement of the U.S. Treasury, which is so easy to do. If you have unlimited derivatives you can play with, unlimited store of, they don't even need cash to trade a derivative. And what is a derivative? A stock, a bond, a commodity contract, the stock market, all derivatives based off of the value of a real company, well, sometimes mostly a real company underneath that, but there are layers and layers. Stock is a theoretical pledge of ownership owned by the seeding company at the DTCC. It's not owned by you. When you buy your stock, your brokerage company doesn't actually put it in your account. They don't buy it. They don't transfer it into your name ever. So you are crazy to play that game. The stocks are continually flowing through the electronic system, and when it stops, we're going to find out that there was 10 or 20 owners of the exact same share that you thought you had in your retirement account. It's really sad. And this is even pointed out by the SEC itself in their failure to deliver reports, that they say about 300 million shares every single day fail to deliver, because it's just a constant churn, and the brokerage houses and the traders net at the end of each day. They net their trades. So you get $1 billion here and $1 billion and one there. They only announce one. And they even have a hard time putting that into anybody's name, so they trade it again. So it's a continual churn of phantom assets. And this has been proven time and time again at the road to Ruta. North Korea fires 7th ballistic missile of 2017. Projectile flew 700 kilometers, landed in the Sea of Japan. I would not be surprised if a military strike against North Korea happens. Most likely it would be China doing it. Again, China, U.S., and Russia are all working together behind the scenes to beat the bad guys. North Korea is one of the last bad guy strongholds. So, yeah, it's the game, and it's take out their capabilities. It won't be that hard. And teach them a lesson. Of course, there'll be a lot of blustering, maybe even some of their missiles that get fired off. I am not worried about the nuclear issue. That's being dealt with on a much higher level than governments. So think of our secret, the breakaway civilization or the secret space program. Those guys are not going to allow a nuclear attack. So, yeah. Go back into older videos if you want to find out more about that. 24 hours later, unprecedented fallout from biggest ransomware attack in history. This is one of the largest global ransomware attacks the cyber community has ever seen. Never seen anything like this. It's so important to get your data offline. If you have Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrencies, if they're online, you can kiss them goodbye. When the banks crash, whoever's holding your cryptocurrency online will crash as well, because they run their business off fiat money. Store your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, all your cryptocurrencies offline. Store any cash you have offline. Physical gold and silver is obvious. Nobody should be between your gold and silver. I don't care how upstanding the vault is that is holding your physical gold and silver. It will not be there. It will not survive the crash of the banks. It's very simple. The guards that guard it will walk off with your metal because they got to take care of their families too. Everything is shut down when the banks crash. Think. California business banker speaks out. It's a classic late cycle red flag. Since something is changing in the world, I've seen a spike in the number of unqualified financially and expertise people who want to get into flipping homes. A classic late cycle red flag. We've been through this, and it wasn't that long ago, 2007, 2008. This time it's going to be 50 times worse because the debt has increased that much, and this won't be necessarily a housing problem. There will be, obviously. The housing market will be destroyed if the banks go down because nobody has any money to buy a house. But this is a debt problem, a sovereign debt problem. Governments around the world are way too deep in debt. Even China is playing the game and just ballooning their debt. European banks are on the brink of crash. Paul Craig Roberts rages, "Are you ready to die? We currently are in the most dangerous situation of my lifetime." In George Orwell's 1949 dystopian novel 1984, information that no longer is consistent with Big Brother's explanations is chucked down the memory hole. In the real American dystopia in which we currently live, the information is never reported at all. Absolutely. There's an absolute ban on, even on this YouTube channel, continually being demonetized and subscribers taken away and all kinds of things that that Google has decided to do based on what news they want out there and what news they don't want out there. And it goes everywhere from the little guy to the big guy. So, yeah, it's sad. All right, Arizona passes bill to end income taxation on gold and silver. We've been hearing a lot of this stuff, little tiny movements towards a more friendly gold and silver government regulation regime. I think that's great. I think there's a lot of people who know what's coming. They've been planning for this crash of the monetary system, the crash of the unbacked fiat system, the end of the criminality that's going on the bankster level. Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan are kingpin criminals, but they've been sanctioned by the U.S. government to run their trades, so they have sovereign immunity. At least they claim they do. In a court case with Blanchard in the early 2000s, that's what their claim was. We have sovereign immunity because we are trading for the U.S. government. Well, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, what's this 600 million ounces of physical silver sitting in your vault, Mr. J.P. Morgan? And are they going to use that to spike the price of silver to save their company? They can do it, 10,000 an ounce silver, and they got a lot of money in that silver, in the physical silver. And I think that'll happen before anything else happens and it will also cause the crash of the banksters, and J.P. Morgan knows this, but it is their life preserver, and they can make the price of silver go anywhere. $1 million an ounce. How much is 1 million times 600 million? Does that cover J.P. Morgan's derivative problem? I think it does. So I'm not going to do the math. It's what, 600 quadrillion, or trillion, or quadrillion? I think it's quadrillion. But yeah, they can do it. We all know they can rig the price, especially you can rig the price up if you get the cover from the SEC and the CFTC. And I think at the end of the day, the United States wants to destroy the system because we're losing. We're clearly losing the economic game. So if you destroy the system, you get rid of all the debt. If you get rid of all the debt, the United States wins because we're the largest debtor nation in the world. No one would ever trade with us again, but that's fine. That's fine. We need to bring all our troops home, stick them on the borders, and get along with our business of recreating our country, bringing manufacturing jobs back overnight. If Trump wants manufacturing jobs in globalization, and then all of a sudden everything that we use has to be made here. And destroying the monetary system would do just that in globalization. Alan Greenspan has talked about that, wrote an FT article about that a few years back, and that's part of the transition out of the old system into the new system, is an end to trade between countries. Really interesting stuff. NSA director uses Russian hacker threat to gain access to voting systems. In a statement to the committee on May 9th, Rogers positioned NSA to oversee a wider role in conducting surveillance over electronics, not only in the United States but in other countries, including France and Britain. They're already there, my friends. The CIA and the NSA already have everything. Anything that goes into the electronic form and is sent through a wire, they have it. They have it, and now they're going back for permission. Insane. We need to realize that the whole world has changed once it was discovered that in every single electronic computer there is a little spyware that the CIA and the NSA everywhere around the world, in China, in Russia, in Europe, in South America, and Africa, and the United States, anywhere you look, any electronic device has spyware on it, and data and information and discussions and secrets are being passed right through the NSA and right through the CIA every single moment. So, yeah, it's time to wake up. U of A hires social justice advocates to police fellow students for bias incidents. Administrators at the University of Arizona are now accepting applications for social justice advocates, whose job it is to snitch on other students accused of bias. It is out of control in our higher education, but the good/bad thing is higher education will not be around after the banks collapse. Nope, nothing. There will be no funds out there for these people to get student loans, student grants, every single college. I feel bad for the people who are like in their last year of college. They, not graduating this year, but next year's their last year because they're not going to have a diploma. All colleges are going to shut down because the system is so corrupt. The free loans and the banks, government-backed student loans through the banks is just handing out money to the banks with a government guarantee on it. Insane. And all that's going to come crashing down. And then, no, your school's not even going to be open. There'll be no money to pay for your college professors and all that. So that whole game of social injustice is going to flip instantly on its head. And people are going to have the hard shock of reality that there's no such thing as a free lunch. And social justice will be kind of thrown out the window when real problems come in, like where we're going to get our food, where we're going to get our water, black, white, red, yellow, green, any color people will be seen as people, as participants in this struggle to survive on a local level, on a national level. So there won't be these big fights about he's black, he's white, he's poor, he's an immigrant, he's a non-immigrant. It's going to be, okay, what can you do to help our society? What do you contribute? And if it is needed, great. Come aboard our little community here, local communities especially. If it is not, we don't need you. Sorry. I don't care what color or race or socioeconomic background you're from. If you don't pull your weight, you will be kicked out of the tribe, because it will get down to local communities working together to rebuild the United States. Not the federal government will pretty much be gone. So something to look forward to. It's not going to happen today, but it might happen this summer. I have a strong feeling it'll happen by this winter. So those of you looking to get your college diploma next year, it's not like a college diploma gets you anything anyway, truthfully. Complete waste of money. Absolutely. Not for everybody. It's not for everybody as a waste of money, but for the majority of people who are literally learning to be indoctrinated. If you can recite all these things in the order that we teach them to you, then we'll give you a piece of paper that says, yes, you got it right. You recited all this information that has been passed down from whoever actually passed it down over the years. So you're certified. You're certifiable now if you're still in the system. Anyway, sorry all you college students out there and all you parents who have funded this thing. It was a con from the very beginning. I'm just telling you. The Canada bank runs are continuing. Canada hasn't seen a bank run such as this in decades. Finance Minister says home capital bailout possible. Yeah, well, that is just the start. The bank runs, as people start lining up in front of banks, calls into question other banks. And that's how the kind of cavalcade starts for bank runs. So I expect huge capital controls on the amount of cash you can get out of your bank daily, weekly. And it won't last very long because the whole system will pretty much shut down after that. So if you have anything in the bank or in the 401k or IRA account, you better get it in your own possession or it will be gone. Bank of China ATMs go dark as ransomware attack cripples China. As a result of the WannaCry global malware attack, not only have Chinese ATMs been taken offline, but Chinese traffic police, immigration authorities, and various public security bureaus and schools have suspended normal work until the malware threat is resolved. Yes, this is a big deal. The computer dysfunction. Remember, all assets now are electronic. Amazingly, invented by Alan Greenspan in the 1960s. Root A, that's where RUTA comes from. Root A is one of the basis of our financial system. From everything goes Root A. So it goes Root A, and then you have your checking, savings, retirement accounts, blah blah blah, all the way down in the computer programming code. Root A is the very root. Root meaning the origin. A is the very first root. If you computer programmers know what I'm talking about. It's like an inverted tree type of thing. It's the way you write software code. But yeah, computers took over the financial asset psyche, I would say, in the 70s, 80s, and then really in the 90s and 2000s. And now we think we're rich because we get a printed statement from our bank or our retirement account or our brokerage house that says we have X, and that's just a computer statement. Let's get real about this. This is a printout from a company that is completely immersed in these electronic assets that could disappear easily. That's why you always have to have physical gold and silver, because even Bitcoin and everything else, if the electronic functioning of the internet goes down, Bitcoin is going to have a huge problem. Dual-edged sword, because if the electronic function of the internet goes down, you're going to get no food or water either. So it would be 50 times worse than, you're not going to be happy you had gold and silver at all. You're going to be happy you had a gun. You're going to be at a source of food and water, because the just-in-time delivery system is completely contingent upon the internet. So I would assume the internet would get fixed quickly, and then voila, Bitcoin's up and running again. But you do have to have some gold and silver. It's getting complicated out there. You don't know what to hold and how to hold it. So make sure everything's in your own control. Your data, your money, your assets, your gold and silver, in your own control. Now is the time. And as people are finding out this morning, the Bank of China, the ATMs aren't working for the entire population of China that uses the Bank of China, which is a lot of them. So take heed. I think this problem will be blown up bigger and bigger, and you'll have more and more about it in the coming days and weeks. And this could be the start of the bigger crash, the total implosion of the unbacked fiat monetary system. On that note, happy Mother's Day again. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruda.com. Subscribe. And very key, go to the roadtoruda.com website. Put your email in with your name, and you get a free book called Silver, Gold, Bitcoin, and God. And read it, live it, learn it. I have 3 other books, and I have an economist report on the cover for 2017, which is right. We're getting right into that tower card where the whole system falls apart, and then it progresses, and I walk you through the whole progression of 2017. It's right at the top of the website, roadtoruda.com. And if you have any questions about this stuff, go to the search portion of Road to Ruda, and you can search for all these topics, and I've been talking about them for 17 years now. Anyway, we'll talk to you later.